Spell John.
Okay. How long have you been in office for that Clark County, sir?
Almost 17 years.
Are you a certified police officer in the state of Georgia?
I am.
How long have you been certified, sir?
17 years.
Okay. Do you recall, I'd like to take you back to 2010, do you recall showing up at Mr. Omari Wray murder scene, crime scene in 2010, sir? You recall that?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us specifically what you done that night?
I just basically responded after the fact of Mr. Omari's body being found at the residence, and then went door to door trying to make contact with neighbors, see what they heard, see what they saw.
Okay. Do you recall doing a supplemental report on this case, sir?
I believe so.
Do you have it with you?
I don't have it with me, no, sir.
Yeah, if I may find a clear copy of this supplemental report there. I'd like to proffer that I do have a copy of this report, but it got a little writing on it. I don't think I can get that in due to the fact that, prior to that I couldn't get them in because they got the writing on it. So I can use this to refresh it, to let it see it.
I don't have it yet. Just look at it. I don't have it yet. Him looking at that.
All right.
Can I see that? Exactly trying to pull that up on his computer. Is that what you were doing?
Yes, sir, I was. Yes, sir.
So you got the same thing on your computer?
Yes, sir, I do.
Let me get it up. Yes, sir. Sir, again, could you tell us the specific, investigation that you done on that scene that night, please, sir?
Yes, sir. On December 28th at 9:21 p.m., while I was assisting at the incident, I spoke with Brittany Smith, and at 210 Pine Forest Drive, Brittany advised she had just left the above incident location 5 minutes prior to the the incident, advised everything was fine at the location, but advised the victim mother was inside and nothing was going on. She did advise that suspicious red in color, possible Mazda 4-door, late 80s model was parked parallel in front of 355 Nottingham Drive.
Okay. Sir, I'd like for us to talk about this. What specific did she say about this suspicious red vehicle when she left out?
She just said it wasn't familiar to the area, but just had been sitting there in the area and was suspicious to her.
Okay. Did y'all do any investigation on this suspicious red vehicle sitting in Nottingham that Ms. Smith told you about? Did y'all do any type of investigation on this suspicious red vehicle?
Well, I believe the vehicle was gone. Well, I don't even know if it was there when officers arrived on scene.
Okay, but did you state in your written report she was leaving, when she was leaving Mr. Ray's part of her house?
Mm-hmm.
And when she was leaving, she observed a suspicious red in color, possible Mazda 4-door, late 80 model, parked parallel in front of Nottingham Drive.
Yes.
And when the police got there, was that red suspicious vehicle gone?
I do not know if it was gone, to be exact, sir. I don't know. I didn't make contact with a red Mazda or anything. I just spoke to neighbors and Miss Brittany.
When you went to the scene, did you see a red vehicle?
I cannot recall.
Did she tell you or anybody tell you about a Cadillac, a golden brown Cadillac sitting there?
No, I cannot recall, sir.
Did you force her to tell you that it was a red suspicious issue car sitting there?
I did not, sir.
So she volunteered the information. Is it fair to say she volunteered the information to you?
Yes.
How about the Michelle cases? Did you do any investigation on the Michelle cases, sir?
I don't recall, and there's nothing in my report about shell casings.
Okay, I see you in your report. You wrote that Terry Gantz, and you talked to Aisha Bell. They advised they heard some gunshots. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
Can you tell us about that, sir?
Yeah, I spoke to Terry and Terry Grant and Aisha Bell at 355 Nottingham Drive. They heard several shots, but were too scared to look outside to see anything.
Did you get anybody to identify me, defendant Jamie Hood, at any time?
No, sir.
Was that your only involvement in that case that night, sir?
Yes, sir.
No further questions, sir.
I have, the first set of statements, please, ma'am. The aerials and the maps.
You whole thing about it. Oh, see, I wouldn't finish with it, but if you want it back. Want one second?
I want, this is the first set, I think, ma'am. Thank you. Officer Johnson, I think as you indicated there, that you arrived at the scene after other officers, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, was the deceased, had he been transported already at the time you arrived, or do you remember?
I believe he'd already been transported.
You arrived after he'd been transported, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you were there to assist, and you started canvassing the neighborhood at some point?
Yes, sir.
And that's when you talked to Brittany Smith?
Yes.
And the red vehicle that you're talking about, she said was parked in front of 355 Nottingham Drive, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as part of your canvass, you went 355 Nottingham Drive, if you recall, was not directly across from 360 where the shooting happened, but across in the house right there next to it on the left. Isn't that what you remember?
I believe so, yes, sir.
Okay. And let me show you, if I can, what's already been admitted as State's Exhibit 36, and you have a pointer there, sir.
It'll take a moment for Captain Robinson to switch it over.
Oh, I'm sorry, thank you. I think that's the one. And while we're doing that, sir, you have your MDT there, your mobile. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And with your honor, let me ask you, can you pull up there a map of Athens, Clark County on that to see exactly where 355 is?
I'll check that, Judge. We're gonna use the same one. The jury needs to see the same thing they've been seeing.
Oh, I'm not gonna show that. I just want to, can you do that? Can you do that?
I can.
Okay. And
Well, he can do it. It don't matter. Let him do it.
just asking if you can do it, Judge. We hadn't done it yet.
Well, if you want to, he can.
I'm not doing the video now, I'm doing the overhead. Is that, I didn't know that took time to warm up.
Well, I'm not sure, it doesn't usually, but
Yeah, I think it,
it
maybe
may be
some
tied
switching over.
together on the same server.
You want me to put him on line for him?
And while we're waiting there, can you just pull up and see on your computer there, 355, does it show basically the plot where
It does.
355 is and 365 as well as 360? Do you see that? Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is that kind of like the tax assessor's website that has a GIS map?
It's our iLeads where we do our reports on that. I'm looking at that map right now. I can go to iMobile as well
Okay.
and do the same thing. Yes, sir.
And while we're doing that, let me ask you, 355 is right next door to 365, isn't it?
Well, kind of at an angle.
Well,
Yes,
it's
sir.
it's the plot right next to 365. It's the address
Yeah,
right next.
365 is right next to it. Yes, sir.
That's right. I mean, I understand one house is one way, one house is the other way.
And then the incident location 360 is across the street
Sure.
at an angle.
And 365 is on that corner, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Judge, and basically, Ms. Smith indicated that the car was parked right in front of 355, right?
Yes, sir.
And 355 is right next door to 365.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's all I have, Judge. I don't need to show anything. I think I brought up what I need to bring out.
You turn the lights back on. Mike, I don't, did you finish your cross-examination?
Yes, sir, Judge. I'm
Okay.
fine.
But just
You did that?
very brief.
All right. Just gonna switch it back over, that's why I'm asking.
Mr. Johnson, I don't know what 355, 65 is. I don't know, but just asking you. When you got there, you wanted 355. Did you see that red suspicious monster when you got to 355?
No, sir. I arrived after the fact of the incident just to assist officers.
That's it. I didn't. No further questions.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Any be excused?
Yes, sir.
Excuse, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next witness.
This here was home.
sir, I do.
Can you please be seated, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Could you please state your first and last name for the jury report, please, ma'am?
Yes, sir. My name is Sarah Thomas,
Could you state your last name for the court report, please?
Thomas.
What are you currently employed, ma'am?
I am a special agent with the Georgia Bureau of Investigation assigned to our Child Exploitation and Computer Crimes Unit, as well as a federal task force officer with Homeland Security Investigations.
How long have you been in your position, ma'am?
Approximately 8 years with GBI.
Are you a certified law enforcement officer for the state of Georgia, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been certified?
The entire almost 8 years.
All righty. Do you recall having any investigation pertaining to the police shooting incident in Athens, Georgia on March 22nd, 2011, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Could you tell us your investigation of your involvement on that case, please?
Yes, sir. I was assigned to the Athens Regional Field Office at the time of the investigation. So I assisted on interviews, the search, as well as other investigative duties that the case agent asked me to do.
What specific assignment did you have on March 22nd, 2011, ma'am?
I conducted interviews, I assisted with the search, and assisted with the case agent.
Do you recall conducting an interview with Mr. Matthew Hood?
Yes, sir. Myself and Special Agent Elizabeth Bigham conducted an interview with him.
Okay. Could you tell us about that interview with Mr. Hood, ma'am?
What specifically would you like me to refer to?
What do you recall him saying about Jamie Hood and Officer Tony Howard in the police shoot? What do you recall saying about that?
During the interview, Mr. Hood told Agent Bigham and myself that he was present during the shooting. He was with Mr. Hood when the shooting of Officer Howard occurred.
Okay. Could you tell us any details about that?
What specifically?
What did he tell you about on Sycamore Drive to shoot? I mean, for him, Jamie. Do you recall him saying anything about Jamie? He picked Jamie up. Do you recall anything about that?
Yes, sir. He,
It has testified for her to actually get into that with the hearsay, and we talked about what was recorded. So get into that.
I just withdraw the question, that's all. Was that interview with Mr. Matthew Hood and Ms. Elizabeth Bigham present, was that interview recorded?
yes, sir, it was.
Have you had time to listen at that video or review that interview of that recording that you were present with?
Yes, sir. It's a digital audio recording, not a video.
Okay, when the last time you reviewed that, ma'am?
Prior to this testimony earlier this morning.
Okay. Did my investigator have you in to do that, Mr. Watani Kimball? Did he the one give you that and have you review it?
Yes, sir.
That was approximately 30 to 40 minutes ago, is that right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after reviewing that, what could you tell us about Matthew Hood and Jamie Hood that day?
I don't know. For her to just to go into that, I thought he was laying the foundation for the interview, recording.
What I'm trying to do is prevent from playing this whole video. Just ask her what she heard and what you know.
I'll allow.
Could you tell us what you know about Matthew Hood and Jamie Hood after listening at the video, ma'am?
During the interview, Matthew Hood stated that Jamie Hood called him and asked him to pick him up at McDonald's. He did so. Jamie Hood was, I believe, with his parents at the time at McDonald's. Matthew and Jamie Hood left. Jamie asked Matthew to take him to his cousin Javaris's house to change clothes. Matthew said that he did not know why Jamie Hood wanted to change clothes. And while they were driving, they saw a Athens Clarke County police car. Inside that, Officer Howard asked Matthew Hood to stop, said 3 times, Mr. Hood, please stop, or Hood, please stop. He stopped the car. As Matthew Hood was stopping the car, Jamie Hood exited the vehicle. Matthew Hood then stated that he heard 2 gunshots and immediately got on the floor.
Do you recall Matthew stating anything in that video about he missed a turn?
Yes, sir, he did.
Could you tell us about that, missing a turn, and what he did after he missed a turn? Could you tell us about that, ma'am?
Yes, sir. From what I recall, he did miss a turn, and Jamie Hood asked him to cut through one of the residential properties, the townhomes, I believe, and he did that.
Did you or Ms. Bingham write a written report on the interview that you had, ma'am, with him?
Yes, sir. Agent Bigham wrote the report.
Okay, did you have that report with you? Was you present during that interview?
Yes, sir.
Okay, do you have the report with you?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Is yours number 1 through 4, ma'am?
The page numbers, yes, sir.
Exhibit 5, is exhibit 5 on that too, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I see on, could you look at page 2? Did Matthew state, do this written report state that Matthew stated that he passed the turn at the red light on Sycamore Street that would lead to Jabbar House?
Yes, sir, that's written in the report.
Okay. Does the report state that Jamie told Matthew to cut through the townhome?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Does the report state that Matthew stated he cut through the townhome, and as he was pulling across the road, Officer Howard was in his police car reversing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. During that interview, is that why y'all put that in your report? Because Matthew told y'all on March 22nd during that recorded interview that Officer Howard was reversing his car?
Yes, sir.
Does this, I'd like you to look at page 3, ma'am. Does this report state that Officer Howard yelled, stop, Hood, stop, Hood, stop, and call Hood 3 times?
Yes, sir, that's what the report says.
Do you remember Matthew telling y'all that during the recorded interview?
Yes, sir, I do.
I'd like you to look at the second paragraph, the 4th sentence. There's a report, let's go to the 3rd. They say that Jamie jumped out the car and Matthew was putting his car in park. And Jamie jumped out and started running, but turned around and began running back toward, what is it, Matthew's car. Did they say it's that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Matthew stated he heard 2 gunshots. Does the report say that?
Yes, sir, and during the interview, I recall that he said he heard approximately or about 2 shots.
Okay. Did he say he witnessed that?
No, sir.
Did Matthew state that he thought the police had shot Jamie?
Yes, sir.
Do you recall during your interview, Matthew stated anything, he thought the police shot Jamie because the police shot and killed his brother Timothy Hood?
Yes, sir, he stated that he initially thought that Jamie Hood had been shot because his brother had been shot and killed in the past.
Matthew said he got on, did he say he got on the ground after that?
He said after hearing the shots, he immediately got on the ground.
Did Matthew ever state that he saw me with a gun that day or any other time?
No, sir, he said that he did not see you with a gun.
Did Matthew state to you during that interview that he never saw Jamie with a gun?
He stated during the interview that, to the best of his knowledge, he did not know of you carrying a gun.
Well, how about in this written report, did Matthew state that he did not know when Jamie had a gun? And Matthew also stated that, to his knowledge, Jamie never carried a gun and that he had never seen Jamie with a gun or talk about a gun. Is that in your report?
It's in Agent Bingham's report, yes, sir.
Is it in that report that you were looking at?
Yes, sir.
And you put that in your report because Matthew stated it on March 22nd, 2011. Is it fair to say that?
Agent Bigham documented it in her report.
But you was present during that interview.
Yes, sir.
And would that give her a reason to document that in the report because Matthew told it to both of you?
Yes, sir.
Matthew also stated that Jamie there's a report on page 3 of the report. Do it state that Matthew stated Jamie was wearing dark colored denim shorts, a brown khaki colored polo style shirt, and black and colored Nike shoes.
Yes, sir, that's
So
what the
Matthew
report
said,
says.
Jamie, did he ever mention any time that Jamie did not have on any shoes?
Not that I recall.
Do you recall Matthew stating that Jamie had on some black Nikes?
Yes, sir, that was stated during the interview.
I'd like to look at page 4 of the report, ma'am. There's a report state that Matthew stated Jamie does not have any friends and stick to himself.
Yes, sir.
There's a report state that Matthew said Jamie is independent and a very secretive person.
Yes, sir.
It also said Jamie had been locked up for 12 years for armed robbery, and Jamie was institutionalized. You state that?
Yes, sir, it does say that.
He also says that Jamie was locked up for so long that Jamie, you can't tell him what to do.
Yes, sir, that's what Elizabeth Bigham's report states.
During your interview, during that interview, do y'all recall him asking Matthew who Jamie talked to, any phone number he might have where we could talk to or find out who he was talking to?
The best that I can recall, he stated that he didn't know.
Okay. Why would y'all ask Matthew who I was talking to? Where did that come from?
At that point in the investigation, Jamie Hood had not been located.
So Matthew, did he provide you with any phone numbers of any people Jamie deal with at any time?
Not that I recall.
After y'all interviewed Matthew, what was your next, what did y'all do after that? After you interviewed him, what happened after that?
We responded back to the command post and conducted other investigative activities.
Okay. Who did you report Matthew interviewed to? I mean, after you talked to Mr. Matthew Hood, did you talk to your supervisor? Who was the case agent? Did you have anybody to report to?
The case agent of the investigation was Special Agent Trent Hillsman. The supervisor at the time was Special Agent in Charge Jim Fullington.
Ma'am, you said who the assistant?
I'm sorry?
Who? Jim Fullerton?
Yes, sir, was the Special Agent in charge at that time.
Did you talk to any one of these guys about what Matthew said about Jamie during this interview?
I did not, however, it's my understanding that Agent Bigham informed both of them that the interview was concluded, but I was not present for that conversation, so I don't know what details were provided.
Do you know of any other involvement that law enforcement had with Mr. Matthew Hood pertaining to Jamie Hood whereabouts or who he might talk to?
I don't, I was only present for this specific investigative act in this interview.
Have you had any other contact with Mr. Matthew Hood?
No, sir.
Did anybody force Mr. Matthew Hood to tell you things that he told you?
No, sir. Prior to the interview, he signed a waiver of rights form and stated that he had not been threatened or promised anything.
Okay. So this was on March 22nd, 2011. Is that right, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
I have no further question at this time, Judge. I might have several to read on another issue.
Ms. Thomas, just to go through, matter real quick, you've been with the GBI 8 years, as you indicated there,
About a month shy of 8 years, yes, sir.
and you're currently in the child exploitation and computer crimes section, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you've been in that section how long now?
Approximately 3.5 years.
And prior to that, you were assigned as a special agent here in Region 11, is that right?
That's correct. I left on July 1st, 2011.
And it was during that time that you responded to this particular scene there at Sycamore, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And while you were over there at Sycamore, either before or after you spoke to Matthew Hood, you and Agent Bigham, one of the assignments you had was to canvass the particular area for any kind of video footage, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
As I understand, y'all looked up and down Sycamore as one of the areas that you looked, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't find any cameras or any kind of indication that there would have been any video footage in that area, is that correct?
Correct, on Sycamore or West Broad Street or any of the surrounding areas.
That's right. You went over to West Broad Street there too, up and down probably from at least Alps Road going down towards Sycamore and perhaps down further toward the river, something in that area. Just look for any possible video footage from bank cameras, from restaurants, from any businesses or anything like that, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. And didn't find any at all?
We did find that the National Bank of Georgia on West Broad Street had a camera, but the quality was extremely poor to the point that you couldn't even make out what car was passing by, and McDonald's was the same way.
I see. Now, going back to this interview there with Matthew Hood, that started about 2:50 in the afternoon and went to about 3:30 in the afternoon, as you best recollect, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And as I understand, Matthew indicated to you that he'd gotten up about 8 o'clock that morning over at his girlfriend's house off Rock Springs, is that correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
And his girlfriend left to go job hunting that morning, he stayed home to babysit their child, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then at some point, he went to Kroger on Alps Road, is that right?
He did, to get medicine for his sick son.
And before he went back home, he basically wound up picking up Keonka Williams, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then he went, and it was while he was doing that he got the first call from Jamie Hood asking for a ride, isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And he basically pretty much brushed him off at that time because he knew that his brother Jamie Hood had his own vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
And then he wound up, and that vehicle was a gold brown Cadillac DeVille, right?
It was the vehicle that Matthew Hood told us that Jamie drove.
Yes, ma'am. And he wound up going to administer the medicine to his son, and that's when he got a second call from Jamie Hood, is what he told you, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated at that time that Jamie Hood at that time was speaking to him in a very angry voice, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And he wound up telling him, come get me now, right now, I'm sorry, come get me right now, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that Jamie Hood told him that he's at McDonald's with his mom, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, Matthew said that he left in that red SUV with Keonka Williams and drove to that McDonald's on West Broad, right?
Yes, sir.
That's the same McDonald's that you checked for the video footage, correct?
Yes, sir.
And it turned out not to be sufficient for y'all, sufficient quality to be able to show anything, right?
Correct. Yes, sir.
Okay. And at that time, when y'all, he got over there, he indicated that basically that he saw his brother Jamie Hood in the back seat of the red Durango that his mom and dad were in, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And Jamie Hood at that time got out and told Keonka Williams to get out of the SUV, right?
Yes, sir.
And then Jamie Hood got in the SUV in the passenger side with Matthew Hood at that time. Isn't that what he told you?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, he said, it's documented there that Jamie, as he was getting in the car, was shaking his head and laughing a little bit. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay. And basically, he said that Jamie told his brother Matthew to take him to Jarvis Hood's residence, right?
Yes, sir.
Jarvis Hood was a cousin of theirs, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you came to understand Jarvis Hood lived in that Cascade apartment complex. Is that what you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in fact, he indicated he probably lives on the third building on the right, second down through the apartment, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then he said that he passed the Sycamore Drive turn on Broad Street, and Jamie told him basically, want to cut through those condominiums, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's what he did, right?
Yes, sir.
And he said as he did that, as he got over towards Sycamore, he saw Officer Howard, correct?
Yes, sir.
And as he was pulling across the street, he indicated that Officer Howard was in his police car reversing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And he yelled at him at that time to stop Hood, stop the car Hood about 3 times, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at that time, he proceeded to try to begin to stop the vehicle, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated specifically that as he was trying to put the car in park, his brother Jamie Hood jumped out of the car, right?
Yes, sir.
And he started running. Isn't that what he said?
Yes, sir.
But he also said at some point you could tell that Jamie Hood turned around and began running back toward Matthew's car.
Yes, sir.
Right? Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And it was that time he heard 2 shots, right?
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, let me ask you if I can about moving forward to March 25th, 2011. You were in Athens at that time still assisting with this case, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And you wound up speaking to one of the hostages, Quentin Riden, after he was released. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was conducted by you as well as Doug Parker. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, there was an attempt to actually record that. You thought it was being recorded, right?
Yes, sir. I was informed by the Athens Clarke County Police Department that that room had recording capability, and they indicated that it would be recorded.
And it turned out it just wasn't recorded.
Yes, sir.
That you wrote a report about all of what was done and said at that time, didn't you?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you were talking to Quentin Riden at that time, weren't you?
Yes, sir.
First of all, let me show you what I'll mark when we get there. Take exhibit 1173. I'll also show you this exhibit. Exhibit 1173 is a CD of a recording. Isn't that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
And that purports to be the recording of the statement that, the interview you conducted along with Agent Bigham of Matthew Hood on March 22nd, 2011, right?
Yes, sir.
And you listened to that actual CD, have you not?
Yes, I have.
And after doing that, you initialed basically were indicating that this was the one that you listened to?
Yes, sir.
And everything that was on that particular recording is true and accurate, there's been no additions or deletions or changes at all, any kind, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 1174, ma'am, is your report of the interview of Quentin Riden, is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir, it is.
And that is the summary of the statement that you took and spoke to Quentin Riden about just not too long after he was released from the residence there at Creekstone, right?
Yes, sir.
As I understand, that began at about 9:32 in the evening, correct?
Yes, sir, it did.
And it was concluded approximately 1 o'clock in the morning
Yes, sir.
on the 26th, right?
Yes, sir.
So it started at 9:32 on March 25th, 2011, and concluded sometime around 1 o'clock in the morning on March 26th, 2011.
Yes, sir.
Right?
My objection to that, Ms. Lee, in the report, it says, what was 11, if I stand corrected, 9:32 and approximately 11:22, well, it could be, I don't know. I brought that, it could be, I don't know. I don't see no specific time, but I see 10:27 and 11:22, so I never heard of one, so therefore, I'm not sure, though, so I have to listen a little more. I withdraw that, because I don't know.
First line, it indicated, the interview began at 9:32, right?
Yes, sir.
And the reference to 10:27 was the time that Agent Parker, who was in the interview, exited the interview, and then, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And 11:22 is the time that another agent, Renee Anderson, spelled R-E-N-E-A, Anderson, entered the interview.
Yes, sir.
That's what you noted in your report, correct?
That's
You
right.
documented, those are the times.
And
But
then
the interview with Mr. Riden began at 9:32, is that what you recall?
Yes, sir, and on page 5, it has that it concluded at approximately 1 a.m.
Yes, ma'am. And at that time, before we go into that interview, at some point during that interview, let me back up. At that time, Mr. Riden provided you information about what had gone on basically while he was held hostage over there at Creekstone, correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, he also indicated basically what Jamie Hood told him during that time that Quentin Riden was held hostage, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you documented that in your report as well, did you not?
Yes, sir, I did.
And he indicated that the defendant, Jamie Hood, told him about the Jadon Brooks incident, did he not?
Yes, sir.
And he wound up saying that Brooks was called over to a mobile home trailer that was being occupied by Hood and 3 other males, is what the defendant wound up telling him,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
And that the other males were wearing masks. That's what he indicated that the defendant Hood told him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he wound up saying that that the other 3 males jumped Brooks and gagged him and tied him with his hands behind his back and shoved him in the trunk of Hood's vehicle. That's what the defendant Hood told you happened to Jadon Brooks, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the defendant Hood also revealed to him that they left the mobile home trailer with Brooks in the trunk. And isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that the defendant Hood, during that period of time at Creekstone, that the defendant Hood indicated he was looking for Ken Campbell, is what he had told Quentin Riden, right?
Yes, sir.
And that at that time, that the Hood told him he was going to kill both Brooks and Campbell because they ripped him off. That's what he indicated at that time, from 9:32 on March 25th until about 1 o'clock in the morning on March 26th during that interview, correct?
Yes, sir.
And Riden indicated that he did not know exactly what Hood meant, but assumed it was over drugs, right?
He did. He actually elaborated a little bit later on in the interview.
He did, okay. And he told you that the defendant Hood told him that while on his way to find Campbell, he looked in his rearview mirror and saw Brooks escaping out of the trunk, is what Riden said that Hood told him, right?
Yes, sir.
And he also said that Hood had told the Riden that he was going to kill Brooks on the spot, but there were too many witnesses around, is what Riden told you on that night of March 25th.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And at that point, Hood realized that Brooks was going to go and report him to the police, correct? Is that what Hood told him?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that Hood and the other individuals who were in Brooks' vehicle then fled the area, ditching both vehicles in the other location, right? That's what he'd indicated that Hood told him right then?
Yes, sir.
And that Hood then got a gun from one of the other individuals and told him to leave the scene, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was what was revealed that Jamie Hood told him during this period at Creekstone, right?
Yes, sir.
I'll make an objection to misleading, but they showed me in the report why allegedly saying that I knew he was gonna call the police, ma'am.
That would be appropriate for examination.
Yeah, Your Honor, but it's still misleading material. If he didn't say it, what he telling us?
So the objection is misleading.
Yeah, it's misleading because I don't see that in here, unless I can stand corrected.
So the objection is misleading.
You have page 2 of your report, ma'am.
Yes, sir, I do.
And in that, the continuation of the paragraph on page 1 at the, I guess it's the third to last
Yeah, I
sentence
see it.
there.
I see it in this. I see it. It's in this.
Withdraw the objection.
Yeah, I withdraw that. I see it.
All right.
And at that time, he also indicated that Hood told him that he had called his brother Matthew to come get him, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that after getting to the vehicle with Matthew Hood, officers attempted to pull them over at that time, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that point, the defendant told him knew he was going back to prison for the attempted kidnapping charge of Brooks, and that he knew his life would be over, right?
Yes,
what
sir.
he indicated that Hood told him.
Yes, sir.
And he indicated also that Hood told him when Officer Howard approached Jamie Hood decided to shoot him.
Yes, sir.
Right?
That's correct.
And at that time, Riden advised that Jamie Hood never liked Officer Howard and thought that Officer Howard was a dirty cop, is what Hood reported, right?
Yes, sir.
And he also indicated that Jamie Hood told him that he didn't have any remorse for shooting Officer Howard, right?
Correct.
And he indicated also, he said, now the Athens-Clarke County Police Department would know what it's like to lose one of their own, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's what Quentin Riden said that Jamie Hood told him, right?
Yes, sir.
He indicated that Jamie Hood told him he didn't want to shoot and kill the second officer that arrived, but he knew that because Officer Christian had just witnessed Jamie Hood shooting Officer Howard, he also had to shoot Officer Christian in order to escape.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Jamie Hood told him that he shot Officer Christian before Officer Christian got out of his vehicle, and then he fled, right?
Yes, sir.
He revealed further about what Jamie Hood told him about the carjacking, right?
Yes, sir.
He indicated that Jamie Hood told him that he fled on foot and carjacked another woman whom he eventually let go unharmed and hid out in the woods and bushes near his parents' residence for the next day or so, correct?
Yes, sir.
He indicated that Hood advised him that on several occasions Hood could hear other police officers who were searching for him and could have killed them if he wanted to. That's what he said he told Riden, right?
Yes, sir.
And that he used a bicycle to travel around and then ran because he thought he'd been seen on a bicycle, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that on the morning that he understood that Hood was hiding out outside the bushes when Niece, he indicated he didn't know the last name, Niece, the 13-year-old hostage, came outside to start the car, right?
Yes, sir.
And Hood told him that he jumped out of the bushes with a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun and made Niece accompany him back inside the house, right?
Yes, sir.
And Riden told you that later that day that he himself had received a telephone call asking him to come over to the residence, right?
Yes, sir.
And that Riden told you he arrived at the residence with his 10-month-old son, unaware that Hood was located inside and was holding everyone hostage, right?
Yes, sir.
And that over the next couple of hours, Hood managed to either already to have or contact the other individuals inside the residence, and he listed those folks, correct?
Yes, sir, he did.
And he indicated that basically during that time, Hood allowed them to eat and sleep, and otherwise he was not mean to them at all other than holding a gun on them, right?
Yes, sir.
He was, he indicated that on at least one or two occasions, he and his wife basically left, but each time that basically his baby had stayed at the residence, right?
Yes, sir.
He indicated that he had saw Jamie Hood use cocaine there a couple of times, and that he would get extremely angry and start yelling about how all that's happened because of Brooks, and that it was all Brooks's fault, right? Isn't that what Quentin Riden told you?
Yes, sir.
Hood stated that Quentin told you that Hood had told him that he still wanted to kill Brooks and Campbell. He stated he planned to kill them and would kill them if he escaped, right?
Yes, sir.
And he explained basically at that time, as you got further in the interview, about what this was all about in regard to this matter with Brooks and Campbell, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated at that time that he was attempting to kidnap, Riden indicated that Hood told him he was attempting to kidnap Brooks in the first place Hood being cut out of drug deals by Brooks and Campbell, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And he said that Hood told him he felt Brooks and Campbell now owed him thousands of dollars, right?
Yes, sir.
And that Hood told him that after being released from prison, he attempted to get a good job but couldn't because of his record, and therefore he's forced to get back into his old way of selling drugs, right?
Yes, sir.
He indicated that while in prison, Hood told them that he basically became friends with an Hispanic male who now lives somewhere north of Atlanta, right?
Yes, sir.
He didn't know the individual's name or exactly where he lived. Isn't that right?
I want to state for the, I'm gonna let it move forward. But I just didn't want to say that to show the jury how he'll do the same thing I'm doing. I'm object when I go doing, he object. So for in the future, if I want to read something out here, say I get to do it, I shouldn't hear no more objection. Now, that's why I ain't saying that. I want him to do it. He wanted to show certain things, but when I do it, he go jumping up. That's why I let him read for a while, just to bring it to the jury attention. But he can keep on though.
On the rules, once the veracity of a particular witness has been attacked, which is what happened to Quentin Riden, in that event, it's proper to basically bring in the prior statement at this time, which is what has happened at this point. So the rules, when that happens, there are rules that it does not happen, and this is one of those rules.
Whether you abstain or not, he can keep on, but I've been doing the same thing, but I can't do it. I just want to bring it to their attention. He can say what he want to say. I have nothing to hide, so he can carry on. I withdraw my objection, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. He indicated that basically that Hood told him, he introduced Brooks and Campbell to the individual, and they all started doing business together, right?
Yes, sir.
And that every time, according to Hood, is what he told him, every time Brooks and Campbell would make a purchase, Hood would receive a cut from the deal, is what he said, right?
Yes, sir.
And Hood indicated to him that he received his Cadillac from Brooks and Campbell as part of the deal, is what he told Riden. What Riden indicated that he told him, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated at some point Hood was cut out of the deal, and that Brooks and Campbell started dealing with the individual on their own, is what he indicated that Jamie Hood told him, correct?
Yes, sir.
And that Hood indicated to him that he was upset, that this upset Hood, and that's why he went to Omari Wray, a friend of Brooks and Campbell, right?
Yes, sir.
Quentin Riden told you that he asked Ray where he could find Brooks and Campbell, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that Hood told him that Ray wouldn't tell him where where he was, and that's when he shot Ray 5 times, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated that Jamie Hood told him he didn't want to kill Ray, but he had to for the purpose of making a point to Brooks and Campbell, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated also that there were some occasions during before Quentin Riden left Creekstone that Brooks and Campbell wound up calling in and talked to Hood, right?
Yes, sir.
And that each time Hood became angrier and angrier, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated also that Hood told him, and he was talking about the killing, that how the PD shot his brother, right?
Yes, sir.
And he regretted killing Officer Christian, but he wished he'd killed Officer Howard, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated at that time that the handgun he used during that Riden indicated he saw Hood with the handgun during the hostage situation, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated Hood told him he had another gun, right?
Yes, sir.
And Hood indicated also that he had 2 boxes of handgun ammunition, right?
Yes, sir.
And he indicated also that Hood told him he was ready to die, but wanted to kill a few more people first, right?
Yes, sir.
That he wanted to kill a person by the name of Antoine Bishop, or Rashawn, as well as Anna Ken Campbell, but they were not at their residences when he went there. That's what he indicated that Hood told him, right?
Yes, sir.
And Riden at that time told you that he had tried to record what Hood was saying on his phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And that his phone and his understanding was still at the residence at that time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Well, I object to that, Judge, because of Ms. Lee, he had, Mr. Riden testified that Mr. Riden gave the GBI his phone the same night he talking about that house. So why he changed it up now talking about the phones at the restaurant?
I have the witness on cross.
Yeah, he was just stating that if a witness didn't testify, see, Judge, I was waiting on it. And I was just waiting. And he didn't have Mr. Riden testify and mislead this jury already with several bogus allegations. Now he got this agent, he knew I got on my witness list, he knew I was gonna bring it up. So he's trying to fizzle it now. He clearly had this man testify. I told you about he was giving false testimony. Now he's saying that it was at the residence. He told Mr. Riden, told the jury that he left out the house with his phone and gave it to the agent that night. And he knew that was false testimony.
Overrule the objection, allow the question.
Agent Thomas, this matter about the phone has been in your report since day one, right?
Yes, sir.
In fact, you testified at a hearing about this matter too, correct?
2 hearings, yes, sir.
And the defendant was present at those hearings, correct?
Yes, sir.
This is not new information, is it?
No, sir.
Judge, I object to
He
that
indicated-
misleading, because I'm not talking about him testifying, I'm talking about when he put Mr. Riden on the stand and tell this particular jury, this is a jury trial, that was before you. So I hate because he's trying to fizzle it. We can get the record and we can pull it back up, what he told this particular jury. I know it's in the reports.
Overrule the objection.
He indicated that what he thought the phone was still there at the residence, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, Amanda Rulin, an agent with GBI, was interviewing Chandra Vest, his girlfriend, pretty much in another room, either directly across the hall or almost directly across the hall from where you were interviewing Quentin Riden, right?
Yes, sir.
I
That's
said
correct.
that's
And it's some-
speculation, Judge. How could he know what room they was in and he wasn't there? So that's speculation. If Mr. Maul wasn't there, how do we know where they was at?
Overruling the objection, he's got the witness on cross.
Amanda Rulin's here. She's been here the whole time. You've been here on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, and today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We've both been here since Saturday.
And you saw her that night, did you not?
Yes, sir.
At some point, you basically spoke to her and she brought to you the phone of Quentin Riden, right?
Yes, sir.
And after doing that, you brought it into Quentin Riden, did you not?
Yes, sir.
I object to it, Ms. Lee, nowhere in this report that she brought Ms. Riden. He just said she been wrote the report. It ain't in him that she brought it done on Quentin Riden, is it?
Your Honor,
If that's an objection, I'll overrule it. You'll be able to examine her further.
Yeah, but it misleading, no, Judge.
you brought it into him, did you not?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you spoke to him about the phone, and he basically said that's his phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And you asked him whether or not you could search the phone, correct?
Yes, sir.
And he said, well, I prefer not, right?
Yes, sir.
He said, rather y'all get a search warrant, right?
Yes, sir.
He didn't indicate that he had a real problem with it, he just wanted y'all to get a search warrant for it, right?
Correct.
If that was your kind of understanding because he was in somewhat of the drug business,
Judge,
is
I
that right?
speculate, I object to speculation. If he didn't say it, we don't know what he said, she don't know what he said, it ain't,
I'll sustain the objection.
But you went back to the room and showed him the phone that y'all had seized at that point, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you talked to him about it at that time, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
After showing it to him, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, He didn't have a problem you searching his car, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
He gave a consent for you to search his car, did he not?
Yes, sir.
And after the interview concluded, you took charge of that particular phone, a Samsung Metro PCS black cell phone with a particular model number belonging to Quentin Riden. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir, I maintain custody of the phone.
After getting it from Ms. Rulin, Agent Rulin, right?
Yes, sir.
At that time, you maintained custody of it and kept it until April the 5th, 2011, when you turned it over to Agent Trent Hilton, right?
Yes, sir.
And you have a property receipt showing all of that, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
And on March 29th, 2011, you got a search warrant for that phone, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And following your securing of that search warrant, you proceeded to search the phone, right?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you basically put it on a device called a Celebrite system. Isn't that right?
Yes, sir.
What is a Celebrite system? Tell the jury if you will.
A Cellbrite is a piece of equipment that has associated software with it that you connect to cellular phones that allows you to forensically examine a cell phone. And the purpose of forensically examining a cell phone is to prevent any changes from the phone. You extract all the data with 100% accuracy. It has a write blocker on it that prevents anything from being written to that phone and any changes to take place to it.
And so you put it on there, right?
Yes, sir.
And it basically downloaded the contents of that phone. Isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, the contents of that phone consisted of recordings, right?
Yes, sir.
And those were recordings that Mr. Riden was talking about in regard to Jamie Hood and what he was saying about these events that he had done, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I object because it wouldn't be on that phone. Now, if she can get that phone she took, I just seen a proper receipt, so that she'll have that phone and show it to the jury, they got a proper receipt.
Objection's overruled.
And you download those recordings to a CD, did you not?
Yes, sir.
I may have another question per judge. And those recordings, ma'am, you put into evidence, is that correct? Is that correct, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you kept them all in your custody control until which time they were placed in evidence for later, for the presentation in court, right?
I provided the CDR to Special Agent Trent Hilton.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Russell,
Yes, sir. Now, Ms. Combs, you said that, that this interview was recorded at the Athens Clark County Police Department. Is that correct? When you first interviewed, you thought it was recorded?
To which interview are you referring to?
Quentin Riden, March 25th, 2011. Then you state that you thought it was recorded by the Athens Clark County Police Department.
Yes, sir, I was informed by the officers that were there that it was going to be recorded.
Well, what that recorded interview I did, ma'am?
As noted in my report, there was technical difficulties, and I was informed that it was not recorded.
Why are we having all these problems with the recording in this case, ma'am? Why they disappearing and canceling this?
That's argumentative and it's not.
Mr. Slayton.
Did the prosecutor tell you not to show this video?
There is no recording of this interview.
Okay, I thought you said it was recorded, but you had some alleged technical difficulties. And that what you just stated?
There was no recording of the interview, Mr. Hood.
Well, what you just say, you thought the Athens Clark County Police Department was recording it first, didn't you state that?
Yes, sir, I was under the impression that the interview was going to be recorded using the equipment at the Athens Clark County Police Department. However, at the conclusion of that interview, I was informed that they had technical difficulties and it was not recorded.
Can you prove that?
Mr. Hood, I don't understand the question.
Can you prove that they had technical difficulties as far as why you can't produce this recording of you and Quentin Riden video?
I was was informed that there were technical difficulties and there was not a recording.
Okay, who was the officer who informed you of that?
I don't recall.
Do you want to recall?
That's argument.
Sustained.
So, you have no way of physically, you have no way of proving the allegation that you wrote it down. Is that what you tell the jury?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Yeah. You wrote this report by the thing Mr. Riden told you, right?
Yes, sir. During an interview, we take notes as well as best practice. We attempt to record interviews. We use those notes to then create an investigative summary.
Why would you want to record the interview in the first place?
We record interviews as part of our investigations.
What's the purpose of recording a video? Any interview, what's the purpose?
For one, it prevents us from having to go back and ask them questions about the interview. If it's recorded, we have 100% of what was said, and we can refer to that rather than going back to that particular person.
I see you got that recorded Matthew Hood. Why don't you got the recorded Quentin Riden?
She's already answered that question, and I would object.
Sustained.
What? Y'all brought that recorded Matthew Hood and put it in evidence so the jury can see that? Or hear that and see? Y'all done that?
I'm sorry?
Did you bring the recording of Matthew Hood and put it in evidence so the jury could see it and hear it?
I recorded the interview on my digital recorder and provided that as part of the case file.
Okay.
So that's State's Exhibit 1173, she's already laid the foundation for.
So State's Exhibit 1173, you brought that so the jury could see that part. Matthew Hood, right?
I did not bring it. I provided it to the case agent who put it in the investigative file that provided it to both your office and the district attorney's
But
office.
did you just authenticate that so the jury can hear the code? 1173, what the exhibit is? 1173,
Yes, sir.
interview with Matthew Hood.
That is a recording of the digital interview with Matthew Hood.
Well, why couldn't you perform the same duty with the Quentin Riden record or interview?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Why
the
couldn't
question.
you do the same thing with the Quentin Riden interview?
At that point, I was informed that the interview was going to be visually and audio recorded by the Athens-Clarke County Police Department equipment, which was different equipment than what was used during Matthew Hood's interview.
How many years you been an agent?
A little shy of 8 years.
Is it a common practice y'all make certain interviews that disappear?
No, that's an argumentative question.
Sustained.
Okay. Ma'am, can I see that property receipt you had on that phone, please?
I do not have a copy of it with me.
Well, what you just brought up, I thought you said you had a property change of custody sheet with it. Phone.
It is part of the investigative case file.
Well, I thought that you got it. Did you bring it?
I do not. It is maintained in the case file.
So you don't have it with you? Is that what you're telling us, ma'am?
No, sir, I do not have the receipt for the property. It is part of the case file.
Now, I'm gonna ask you something. When you were talking to Quentin Riden by the cell phone, did you personally see me say anything or Quentin Riden record me? Did you see that with your own eye?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Did you see Quentin Riden record me and make allegations about Mr. Omari Wray? Did you see that with your own eye?
I was not present during the situation where the recordings were made, no, sir.
So you ain't never seen me say that, haven't you?
Say what, Mr. Hood?
Any allegation about Mr. Omari Wray and Mr. Riden alleged record me, you never saw that with your own eye, haven't you?
Again, I apologize, I still don't understand the question.
What do you understand?
That's not a proper question.
Did you personally see Mr. Quentin Riden record me making any allegation about Mr. Omari Wray?
I was not present when those recordings were made.
Now, during this interview, I see you stated when he talked to you about his phone, you actually searched that cell phone after he told you about the allegation. Did you actually search the cell phone?
Yes, sir, during the interview, I asked him for consent to search the cell phone
Why you wanted consent to search the cell phone, ma'am?
because he mentioned there were recordings where Jamie Hood stated that he had killed Omari Wray.
What did he do when you asked him about to search his phone? What did he do?
He stated that he would prefer that I obtain a search warrant for the phone.
You didn't find this stranger man just sit here and say he got some recording on the cell phone, he won't let you look at it? Did you find that strange?
No, sir.
Why you did?
that's his preference, that's what I'll do.
Okay, and it was his preference to ask you to get a search warrant too, didn't he?
Yes, sir, he asked me to obtain, that he would prefer that I obtain a search warrant for it.
And he just allegedly told you about me professionally killing a man, and you got murder evidence, he won't let you see it.
He only stated that he would prefer that I obtain a search warrant for it.
Okay. Did you pertain a search warrant on that particular night, ma'am, or you did it later?
No, sir, the search warrant was obtained on Tuesday, March 29th, 2011.
What day did he ask you to obtain a search warrant, ma'am?
Friday, March 29th, 2011.
All right, did you, that March 25th, 2011, is that right?
Yes, sir, I apologize. Friday, March 25th, 2011.
Okay, then what date you obtain that warrant?
Tuesday, March 29th, 2011.
So 4 days after he asked you for a warrant, then when you got a warrant 4 days later, then when you tell the jury?
Yes, sir, on Tuesday, March 29th, 2011, the case agent, Special Agent Trent Hillsman, asked me to obtain a search warrant for the phone, and I did.
So you mean to tell us you took this man's warrant without a phone, without a warrant, after he didn't ask you?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question, Mr. Hood.
Do a person have a right? So you violated his right, actually.
No, that's not a proper question.
Well, Your Honor, just for the record, she stated that he asked her to get a search warrant. The law is, somebody asks you to get a search warrant, you get it, and she did it 4 years later, that's illegal search and seizure.
It wasn't 4 years later.
4 days later, it's still illegal search and seizure by the law.
I sustain the objection.
Is it common practice, y'all violate people's right when they tell you don't want them
No,
building?
that's the same question I would object.
Sustained.
Plus he had no stand.
You would agree you got a warrant 4 days later, is that correct?
Yes, sir, I obtained a search warrant for the phone when instructed to by the case agent on Tuesday, March 29th, 2011.
Did Mr. Riden, when he got down, hand you his phone?
The cellular phone was provided by his girlfriend, Chandra Bess, who provided to Special Agent Amanda Rowland, who then provided it to me. I then went in and spoke with him about it, and I don't recall if I let him hold it or if I maintained custody of it the whole time, but I did show it to him.
You don't recall putting in a report by it either, do you? But you got it, I'm sorry, I'm afraid that. Did you put this in your written report, you took his phone and come in and showed it to him?
It is
That's a
doc,
legal question too, Judge. You pass it on, Mr. Ray.
Did you put anything in your report about you getting his phone and showing it to Mr. Riden on that same night? Did you do that?
the GBI receipt for property covers,
No, excuse me, I'm talking about your written report. I'm not talking about the GBI receipt. I'm talking about this written report here, pages.
that property receipt is part of that report, Mr.
Well, I don't
Hood.
have it right here. Oh, let me refrain it, Judge. Page 1 through 6, ma'am. I don't want you to get ahead. 1 through 6. Exhibit 67, pages 1 through 6, if I want you to focus on your written report. The one that the camera just mysteriously stopped playing on this
No,
one here.
that's a proper question and those are statements.
Okay, no, just 1 through 6. We'll get to that later. We'll get to the proper report. I want you right here now.
She indicated,
Judge, it pertains to this interview. I'm on this interview, and I get to the proper report, we can talk about it. But ma'am, right now, I'd like you to look at States Exhibit 67, page 1 through 6, ma'am. Please.
Yes, sir.
Is there anything in this report about you showing Mr. Riden his phone after you took it from his girlfriend?
The report states that it should be noted Ryan's cellular phone was later obtained from Ryan's girlfriend and documented on GBI evidence receipt E-519355. See attached. Ryan would not provide Agent Thomas with verbal or written consent to search the cellular phone.
Is there anything that you showed that phone after you took it from the girl? Is there any language in there about that?
No, sir, that part was not documented.
Well, why not?
The evidence receipt covers the chain of custody.
Okay. But is that how y'all come here and tell these little tales? You keep things out of high cameras?
improper question.
Well, Your Honor, she testified to something. They used this report to run down on me. And I really did.
That's a speaking responsibility. He responded to objection. That's not it.
Sustained.
Your Honor, he said he had just gave the jury this a whole
No, sir, it was not intentionally left out of the report.
If it wasn't intentional, what you call it? What words you use, what words you gonna use for that?
Again, I apologize, I don't understand the question, Mr. Hood.
I just go on from here, what you got? Now, this one, now let's get to the chain of custody. Do you have it with you?
No, sir, I do not have the evidence report that is part of the GBI's case file.
Now, you the one obtained it, you the one, did you do the chain of custody report, man? Did you do that?
I did not. Special Agent Amanda Rowland completed the property receipt.
Okay, what's the purpose of a property receipt, man? Why is that important?
It shows chain of custody and shows where that piece of property has been and where it goes.
Okay, now do you use that change of custody property just perhaps you go to jury trial, you can introduce that particular evidence to the jury?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Could you slow it down, please? If the purpose of a change of custody is perhaps if you go to trial and you need to introduce some evidence to the jury, you can lay a foundation to do it to show where and when it came from.
I wouldn't necessarily say that the sole purpose is for court purposes, but the purpose of a receipt for property form shows exactly where that piece of property was obtained from and who has custody of that.
Okay, what's the court part of change of custody then? Can you tell the jury what the court purpose of a change of custody property sheet is? Could you tell them that?
I don't know whether she can answer that question about what the court purpose is.
I'll allow her, she can answer.
We document where we receive property from. If I were to obtain a cell phone, such as in this case, I would document who I received it from and where it was located at the time, such as if it was at a search warrant or if it was found in a person's yard. So we document specifically where evidence comes from. And then we document the obtaining agent, which would be myself or whoever obtains the property at that time, and then who it's transferred to. So there is always a chain of custody to show where the property goes and who has custody of it at that time.
Don't you also use that to introduce that to evidence as exhibit so the jury can see what's on that themselves?
Again, the purpose for the property receipt is to show chain of custody.
I'm looking at evidence and change of custody sheets right here. What the difference between these exhibits and change of custody right here, the one that you have?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question,
I
Mr.
said, I'm
Hood.
looking at change of custody sheets right here. These are change of custody because it's evidence so the jury can view. Why don't y'all have them for the cell phone?
We do. It is maintained in the case file. In this particular incident, Special Agent Amanda Rowland obtained the cell phone from Shanjay Bess. She filled out the property receipt indicating that she was the obtaining agent. That form then indicates that it was turned over to me, and then I indicated that it was, I believe, put in storage, or if it stayed in my custody, then was turned over to Special Agent Trent Hillsman, who then returned the cell phone to the owner. When that's the case, after the property has been returned, it goes back into the case file. If not, it stays with the piece of evidence to continue that chain of custody.
You testified at a hearing before this about the same thing, right?
Yes, sir, too.
Okay, you had that change of custody sheet, man, you talked about it on that day, right? Do you recall that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, why don't y'all have that cell phone in that change of custody sheet so the jury can hear this alleged phone conversation off the phone itself?
I believe that was multiple questions, but correct me if I don't answer them all. The reason that we don't have the receipt for property form is because the cell phone was turned back over to Quentin Riden. When that occurs, we then put that into the case file to maintain as records. Can you repeat your other question?
This was brought up question. Why y'all didn't write this cell phone and put it right here with the rest of this evidence so the jury can see?
The cell phone was returned to Quentin Riden after the forensic examination was done on the cell right.
Okay, why they didn't return this evidence back to the owner when they were finished with it? What's the difference between this evidence I'm looking at right here, that cell phone?
Mr. Hood, I don't know what...
Argument, Judge, on the property.
Did the prosecutor, Mr. Kilmore, tell y'all to get that phone back so the jury can't hear what was on that phone, really?
And that's argumented also.
Is it a common practice y'all take? Would you consider that phone evidence for murder? That's a murder case, right?
Yes, sir. However, after a forensic examination is done and an image is made of that phone, we have the contents on it,
Okay.
so it can be given back.
Okay, did you have a video recording you doing that? Do you have any way of proving that with a phone or wherever you got it from? Did you think to record what you were doing so the jury could see?
It is documented in an investigative summary.
Is it a recorded document, anything we can see, or we just got to go off the word of mouth? Which one it is?
It is documented in an investigative
But
summary.
again, no video is it?
Are you asking if I videoed myself conducting a forensic
Yes,
examination of a phone?
Yes, ma'am, so that way I couldn't ask you these questions. You can just show that video of what you did, and I couldn't say that.
No, sir, we do not video that.
Okay, did you listen to them or let it record before you downloaded or whatever you done?
No, sir.
Why you did?
We conduct a forensic analysis on the phone, and we do that using the Cellbrite to ensure that no changes are made. Using the Cellbrite and that right blocker that's on it, it prevents any changes from being made, so we know that we have accurate information.
Ma'am, did anybody, law enforcement, listen to them or let it record before y'all did what y'all done with their phone?
No, sir, no changes were made to the phone after I maintained
I
custody
think
of it.
you misunderstood my question.
No, I would object to that, his comment about that. He answered the question. He wants to ask another question.
Well, I did ask another question, please, thank you. Okay. Did you or anybody in law enforcement listen to them or let recordings on Mr. Riden's phone before y'all done anything with their phone?
He answered that question.
I don't think she
indicated
has.
why she did that already.
I don't recall asking, but if you think. Okay. Did anything prevent you from listening at their phone at any time?
No, sir, however, our common practice is to forensically examine digital devices in order to prevent any changes. We do it with phones, we do it with computers, tablets. It prevents any changes, so we have an authentic image of that device.
Now, on March 25th, you said you got their phone, right? From
Yeah.
Miss Rowley.
Yes, sir?
Okay, did you listen at them cell phone record March 25th?
No, sir.
Well, why you did?
I did not have a search warrant to examine the cell phone at that time.
You took his phone without a cell phone, why didn't you just didn't go and look at it, listen at it? You had it right there. You said you showed it to him.
That's the leading question on this redirect.
What? Okay. You stated that you, after you took the phone from the girl, when you went back in there and showed it to her, you correct?
I did not take the cell phone from his
Okay,
girlfriend.
well, after the other agent took the phone and gave it to you, you said you showed it to Mr. Reed, correct?
I showed him the physical device and asked him if that was the cellular phone that he had discussed with me during the interview.
And what did he say?
He identified it as his cellular phone.
Okay, why didn't y'all listen at them and let it recording right there in his prison?
Because he said that he would prefer that I obtain a search warrant.
Okay, if he preferred you change the search warrant, why you take his phone in the first place? Why didn't you let him and his girlfriend keep his phone before you took the search, before you took it?
We did not take it, it was provided to
Well,
us.
if he did not, Mr. Britton told you that he refused verbal written consent, that means he didn't want you to search it and touch it.
Mr. Hood, he asked us to obtain a search warrant to search
Okay.
the phone, not to seize the phone.
Okay, what's the difference between search and seize? You violated one, but you might well want to listen at it.
That is not a question for her, nor is it a question for
Sustained.
Mr. Roberts.
So, long story short, would that phone have been evidence for murder?
He's already asked that question. He's already answered that question, Judge.
Okay.
Sustained.
Well, why specifically, why did y'all keep that phone? Hold on, I'm straight. I'm gonna draw that. Did you look at that phone and see how long it recorded? Did you check that phone out and see, did it record or did it have a recorder on it or anything?
No, sir, I made no changes whatsoever to that phone. I did not look at it, I did not open it, I did not push any buttons. Nothing is done until the forensic analysis in order to prevent changes.
Well, how can you prove that that particular phone recorded if you didn't look at it to see what it did?
I can't.
I know. That's a comment. Did that record have any dates? Isn't it true, is it true that when you press record on pretty much any phone, they give you the time and date when you record?
I can't speak to that, I don't know, Mr. Hood.
What do you know about these phones?
That calls for a narrative.
Your Honor, it's really sad that we got these professional agents taking these
That's a
evidence.
comment, that's a comment. Ask another question if you have one.
It's hard to answer the
phone was,
He already asked that question.
Sustained.
He's already
I
asked
said
it.
now, I'm talking about today.
I
Do
sustain,
anybody know
I
what's that?
sustain the objection. She cannot know where it is.
She possibly could, she possibly could,
I
Judge.
sustain the objection.
Is it common practice, y'all have evidence on the murder, and y'all just make it disappear?
She is, that's argumentative, and it's already been asked before and sustained before.
Sustained.
Or were you certified to do that extraction on that phone, which I think you testified before you weren't certified?
no, sir, I stated that I received on-the-job training.
Okay, but were you certified though?
Mr. Hood, I don't know if there is a certification for that, but I did receive training for it.
But you didn't receive no certificate of certification, right? Do you recall that?
I received on-the-job training.
Okay, I think you misunderstood the question. Have you ever received any types of certificate saying that you were certified?
She indicated she didn't know whether certification or not for that. This is what.
Yes, fruitless. Well, let's go back to Sycamore Drive. You said y'all were looking for some cameras. Do you have any evidence you were looking for some cameras on Sycamore Drive?
Yes, sir, it was documented in an investigative summary completed by Elizabeth Bigham.
Okay, but you said you were looking. I mean, on Sycamore Drive, I think I recall seeing something about a bank in McDonald's. Let's talk Sycamore Drive and them apartments. Do you have anything to show that you've done it?
I know that Special Agent Elizabeth Bigham documented our investigative activities in regard to doing the canvas for the cameras.
So today, as of right now, present time, do you have any written documents or evidence to show the jury that you did a particular search of Sycamore Drive looking for some cameras?
Again, I did not complete the reports, however, Special Agent Elizabeth Bigham did, which was provided in the case file.
Okay. Do you have a personal report that you documented you looking for some cameras on Sycamore Drive?
No, sir, those investigative activities were documented by Special Agent Elizabeth Bigham.
Did Mr. Ken Martin come in and he tell you to tell the jury that you look for some cameras on Sycamore Drive?
Can you repeat the question?
Did he, Mr. Ken Martin, tell you to come here and say that you look for some cameras on Sycamore Drive?
No, sir, Mr. Malden has not instructed me to do anything.
How do we know that?
No, that's argumentative.
Sustained.
Is it common practice that you don't bring reports when in a trial, or you just be so unorganized and then coming up with the professional age?
That's argumentative, and it's leading as well, Judge.
Sustained.
Is it common practice to exempt what evidence you don't want and keep
No,
what you
that's
want?
the same type of
Sustained
question.
again.
You know, the reason why I'm asking, it just baffles my mind, even
Ask
professional
another
age.
question, that's a comment, not appropriate. Ask another question, please.
Just waste my time with it is, and it's a joke, so I have no more questions.
Anything else, Mr. Mullin?
Yes, sir. Let me show you, ma'am, what's been marked as State Exhibit 1175 and 1176.
Thank you, ma'am.
Looking at 1175, that's a copy of the consent search that Quentin Riden signed on that particular day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay? And that was part of y'all's investigative file too, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And copy 1176 is the copy of that property receipt that you referred to that was filled out by Amanda Rulin. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And, Your Honor, I would tender 1175 and 1176 into evidence at this time.
Any objection?
Yeah, I object. If they're gonna tell them to go get their phone and attach it on their phone and put it back on the register of that. They got all these property sheets for the evidence they wanna show the jury, no property sheet for the gun most of this phone. So they gonna tell them their property sheet, tell them to go get their phone and sit down here with the rest of what the other property receipts at.
1175, 1176, you're committed. No objection.
And I would tender 1174 into evidence too, sir.
Any objection?
Again, I object. Hold on, what was that? I'm moving too fast. What was that?
So 1174 is your report, is it not, ma'am?
No.
Yes.
Documenting Quentin Riden, the interview you had with Quentin Riden?
Yes, sir,
Is that
that's
right?
correct.
Any objection?
No.
No. 1174 is committed.
phone in regard to Quentin Riden, isn't that right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
And the defendant asked you on redirect about that phone and about whether or not you had documented information about that phone in your report, correct?
Yes, sir.
And on that last page of 1174, would you give that to her, please, ma'am? Thank you. You indicated in the first full paragraph there on page 6, Riden stated they attempted to record Hood discuss the murder of Wray on his cellular phone. Riden stated his cellular phone was still inside the residence. It should be noted that Riden's cellular phone was later obtained from Riden's girlfriend and documented on GBI evidence receipt E-519355. See attached. Riden would not provide Agent Thomas with verbal or written consent to search the cellular phone. That's what you documented, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that property receipt is the one that was listed as State's Exhibit 1176, is it not?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Let me see them exhibits, Judge. This will be real brief. Ma'am, on this change in custody property receipt, do you have any, anywhere in here where you stated that you showed Mr. Riden his cell phone after y'all got it from his girlfriend and showed it back to him?
No, sir, the change of custody form's purpose is to show when property is actually transferred into that person's custody. It was not in his custody, therefore it was not documented on that form.
Ma'am, how many change in custody the property sheet in fact we got here in this courtroom?
That's argumentative, it's not popular for this witness.
Ma'am, so would you use this to introduce evidence at a trial?
He's already asked a question like that in order to be proper for this witness to be able to answer such a question.
I'm talking about this particular evidence.
Oh,
Do you use this to introduce evidence at a trial?
Yes, sir, if evidence that was in our custody or GBI's custody, if it's entered into evidence at trial, the change of custody form goes with it. It stays with evidence wherever it goes.
Okay. Now, I see you got this change of custody about this phone, but I don't see no phone on it. Why is that?
He's asked that question, Judge, and she's answered that question several times.
I ain't no further question, waste your time, Judge.
Anything else, Mr. Long?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
She be excused.
You'll be excused.
Oh, let me see. Let me look up a little thing. Yes, he can be excused.
We call transportation, that'll be our last witness. We call transportation and they're on their way. Apparently we have been able to arrange a request about tonight. However, my haste to do that, it conflicts with our other plans tonight, which were haircuts. So, simplest thing sometimes. So I'm seeing about moving that to Friday, but I don't have an answer about that. It's Friday, so. Yes. So, let's see what else. Who's that getting along? Yes, I'll just get that information to, one of the bailiffs or deputies about your details.
You need to give to them, you saying?